David,
Awesome. What is up?
welcome to the show. It's the 37th episode here, which is pretty
That's
cool.
exciting.
And I think the last time you and I talked on this was you sitting outside of a cafe.
Yes, I was in a cafe in Virginia.
I remember
the
that.
team over there. Yeah.
Talking to
That
your
was awesome.
expansion team.
Yes.
We were talking about your virtual assistant, but now it's been, I don't know, dude, how many months has it been so far?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I haven't tracked it. It's got to be at least 6.
All right.
And to be very honest with you, as long as we're having fun and we're moving forward, I'm not really paying attention to how long it's been. So I'm pushing up,
Good. And it's been about, I'd say 6 to 7 months probably.
Yeah. Yep.
And so you're within the year. What do you think so far? What are the things that stand out so far?
Man, I think the number one thing that stands out is commitment and capability. And let me explain myself. This is not saying that you can't hire someone local that's going to be massively committed to you. I just feel that there are some benefits that having a virtual assistant that's on the opposite clock than you
All right.
offers a lot more capability and a lot more attention as you need it, growing a team and having an assistant, right? So
Yep.
For instance, it's 2 p.m. for me, right? I'm running around going crazy. It's the middle of my day. I've got, I'm planning a conference on this screen. I've got my real estate team on this screen, and I've got my coaching schedule on this screen, and I've got one little WhatsApp box, and I could chat with my VA, who happens to be 1 or 2 in the morning for her. And there's no interruptions. There's no bothering. There's nothing else she could be possibly doing except helping us grow. And she's having fun doing it, and we've created a relationship with her. We've honed in and fixed our issues in communication and being able to coach and train her. My partner Jeanette plays a big role in operations. So she spends 75% of her time with our EA. I spend about 25% of time with her. She does things for me that are simplified, right? Like confirm appointments and things. I usually have, I would say, anywhere between 6 and 10 appointments a day. And so she's calling and confirming those appointments and making sure they're right. Because there's nothing worse than getting right in front of the computer ready for that appointment or that Zoom meeting or whatever, and the person never shows up. And so she really, really takes care of that for me, which is value to me because it buys me back time, right? For those moments that somebody can't make it. So I think, one of the biggest wins that I have with my VAs are that they are massively committed. They're excited. They want to see success, and they want to do more. Like our VA actually told us, like, I'm a little bored. You got anything else? And I was like, yes. Yes. And I guess that could be one of the things that's a battle, is that the person's not right in front of you. So you don't know if they're busy or not,
Yeah.
But then on the flip side, sometimes my old assistants that were right in front of me looked busy, but they weren't busy, So
Right.
there's a lot of mix in there. I could go on a tangent for like the next 20 minutes, Tristan.
All right. No, that's okay. I really want to get into how you're using them. You said EA. What does that stand for?
So we have an executive assistant. So we have 3 VAs right now.
Okay.
We have an executive assistant for the Kurz team, the sales team.
Okay.
We have an ISA for a credit repair company. So we actually stepped it away from the real estate thing. We have an ISA for our credit repair company, which he is so good that we're going to start teaching him processing for credit repair. And which is a whole nother subject that we can get into. And then I'm hosting a conference with Tom Ferry next month in New Jersey. So we hired an executive assistant to help us with that. And we were looking for very, not to mock the movie, but a very special set of skills. And right.
Okay.
And Mike came with those skills. He knows how to run Facebook ads. He knows how to use Canva at a high level. He knows how to edit some videos. And so he's an executive assistant who also has these other skills that can help us promote this conference and do things. So I'm working with him abundantly right now because we're, T minus 29 days, right? And so those are our three right now, and that's how we're using them.
All right, perfect. And there was a question here by Anita. Anita, what's up, Anita? Are there any taxes payable to Virtudesk? I understand they are registered in the state of Washington. Yes, there are. It's not built into the rate. It's actually 4%. So it's all outlined into the contract. So when you sign up, you can really take a look at how it works. But so far, David, you've got 2 virtual assistants that you're using. Is that what I heard? 3. Okay. 3. You've got one that's an executive admin, the other one that you're using as an ISA for credit repair, right?
Yes.
And what was the third one?
He's an executive admin, but we're using him right now for marketing and outreach.
All right, perfect. So what's next right now with a team of 3 that you've built in about 7 months or so?
I hope my TC is not watching this.
I guess I already have the answer to that.
The TC, I mean, I think, there's a lot of great TCs out there, and they'll charge you per transaction. And, those transactions could be anywhere between $350 to $400 each, right? Or $450 each transaction, depending on the TC. We love our TC, so we don't mind paying the premium, but I believe that we're eventually going to get to the point where we're going to look at the math and go, okay, we're not okay spending $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month on a TC. And so to hone that down, let's get the entire team under one umbrella and train somebody to do it, for us. And that's honestly, that's the next hire. That's what we've been conversing about.
Nice. I like that. I think that'll help you a lot, because then it'll help you expand into the next things that you want to do. Okay. What are some challenges you're having with your VA in 7 months? Is it challenges, either communication or whatever it is? What does that look like? Because I want to get real here too.
So honestly, I think the biggest challenges have come from our part, right? Like my partner and I. And the challenge is not so much the VA. The bigger challenge is that the VA is there, ready and willing, and like, hey, I got my notepad, I got my computer open. You ordered me a VoIP line. Let's go. I'm ready. And the challenge that we have is that we're so busy that the first time we hired a VA, we ended up letting them go because we weren't ready for them. It had nothing to do with the VA themselves, but we weren't ready, and we didn't take the time out to teach, train, educate, and really get them evolved to who we are. And so that's, I think, one of the biggest hiccups that we have, and probably one of the biggest hiccups that most people could have if they're used to having somebody right in front of them and in the car and on the road and at a desk that's literally, steps away, versus having somebody that's out of sight, because out of sight could easily be out of mind, right?
That's very true.
Yeah. And so what my partner does is she'll log in the morning with our executive assistant for the team, and she'll minimize her. She uses Google Meet. She'll minimize her, put her in the corner, and they'll just work face to face, and they'll be working on things, and then they'll just talk to each other. It's almost like sitting across from the person, And so, that's one of the biggest challenges. We're trying to find more ways to communicate tasks and more ways to systemize. That's another task. I think if you don't have great systems in place, it makes it very difficult for somebody in another country to help you take over your systems, And so or in another state or city for that matter, right? If they're not right in front of you, you're not developing the systems together. So you have to figure out a way to do that, right? And so my biggest thing for the last couple of weeks actually has been working with our leadership team and saying, okay, guys, here's a format. Here's got a new buyer. Here's the checklist. Look over this checklist and add and take away and do what you got to do, because we have to give this to Ashley so that she has a system in place on how things work. We got a new seller. We got a new, or we just closed a deal, or, what needs to happen next, and has to be systemized, or Ashley's just getting tossed things left and right, and she's just playing offensively, and we're just throwing things at her, or defensively, I should say, we're just throwing things at her. And that's not the way it's going to work. And you're not going to find the value in a virtual assistant doing it that way. We've learned that the hard way, and I think, to get real, it's very difficult sometimes to know that person's there just waiting for you to give them something to do, and here you are going crazy all day, and then when you go, oh, this virtual assistant's not working for me, it sounds a lot like these leads suck.
That sounds exactly what it is. And you know whose fault it is? There are no duties, no tasks outlined. So sometimes that falls on us here, right?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. We're the leaders, right?
That's it.
So if we hire a virtual assistant, it's our job to lead. It's our job to teach them what we want them to do. And if we don't, we can't expect them to know. They're not they didn't grow up with us. They don't know who we are. They don't know our mannerisms, our tempers, the way we do business, the way we speak, the way we talk, the way we present ourselves through email, through text, through social media, in person. They don't know any of that stuff. It's our job to teach it to them so that we create almost like a duplicate of ourselves, so that when emails go out, they go out in your tempo. When social media goes out, they go out in your presentation style, et cetera, et cetera.
Dude, exactly. All right. What are you seeing now that you've got 3 VAs? And I'm asking a question because I know what I saw when I started growing my VA team. So I want to see if it's similar. When now you have 3, what are you seeing now are the possibilities of what you can achieve because you're leveraging?
Wow. So I've looked at this in 2 different lights, right? One light is, wow, how much more massive can we become now that we have more time to pay attention, right? And then the other light is, wow, how much more time do I have to myself, my family, my friends?
Ooh.
And right. And so like both are equally important. It just depends on the person, right? Like I've coached people who want to become billionaires, and I've coached people that are good at 60 grand a year. Everybody has a different level of success, or a level of need, or level of wants, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm always like, how can we 100x this? Like Grant's on 10x, I'm on 100x. Like, how can we 100x this?
Yeah.
And so this is my opportunity to not have everything on my plate or my partner's plate, not look at my leadership team and go, I need more from you, but look at my leadership team and say, I need you guys to participate in growing our executive assistant and coaching our team. I'm going to coach you guys. Let's all make this work, and let our EA handle phone calls, paperwork, transactions, confirmations for appointments, whatever it is that you need them to do, the shit that you don't like to do, right? And the stuff that bogs me down, I'm seeing this possibility. And again, 2 lights: more time with my wife and my kids and my mom and my family and the pool. Like, dude, like I'm that guy. I'm like, they said, work from home, 12 o'clock, I'm jumping in the pool for 10 minutes. Why not? It's lunchtime, right?
That's right, dude. All right, let's talk about scaling, because you have scaled from 1 to 3 pretty quickly. It doesn't usually happen that fast. Can you help me understand why you were able to do that? What did you put in place to be able to hire 2 more?
So for me, it's a little bit different. And the reason it happened so quickly is because I saw the possibility with what was happening with the executive assistant with the team. And I saw the possibilities of how can I add this same implementation into other things. So we went to the credit repair company and we looked at that and we said, okay, we've got a ton of leads coming in. People need credit repair, and we don't have the personnel. We have processors, but we don't have the personnel to touch base with each one of these people consistently. We don't have the right salespeople in place. So we said, let's get an ISA, and that's what we did. And it's done a lot for us. I mean, our ISA is part-time, and he is doing probably 40 to 70 calls a day. Okay. And in a part-time level, and he's booking 2 to 8 appointments a day. And so those appointments give our sales team the opportunity to speak with someone and go through the whole process and sign them or not sign them, depending on, that situation. The other side was, so we're doing this conference in November in New Jersey, and we've got Ashley, who's our executive assistant for the team. And I could have laid a lot of this stuff on her, but then my team would suffer, right? Because I mean, as well as I do, how difficult and how tough it is to put one of these little conferences together, And so we got Tom Ferry coming, we got to do right, so I said, no, I need to leverage again, right? And the best thing I could do was I did 2 things. I hired a project manager to help me locally, right? And then I hired this virtual assistant who is helping me on the back end of all this stuff. And so this particular virtual assistant is handling some of my marketing, has redesigned my website in the first 48 hours that he was live with us, right? Is creating content and things for social media blast. He's setting up social media calendars for the next 30 days. And for the next 2 weeks now, starting next week for the 2 weeks, he's going to be on a phone list calling agents all up and down New Jersey saying, hey, we're bringing Tom Ferry to New Jersey. Can I send you a link with information? Yes or no? Yes, great. Here's a link.
Yeah.
Boom. And that's going to be his primary mission because, we got 750 plus seats to fill. And again, Tristan, even with all the popularity in the world, it's still hard to fill 600 seats, 700 seats sometimes.
Dude,
And
all the time.
Yeah. And so that's why we've been able to grow so quickly, because there are 3 very differentiated tasks. When I go back to looking at the team, I think, we've been with Ashley for a little bit now. And like I said, that next hire has to be a TC. It just makes not only logical sense, but financial sense. Once you reach a certain level of transaction count, what it costs to have a full-time TC VA in comparison to, the 5, 6, 7, 8 grand a month that you're spending per transaction. It doesn't start to balance out anymore. It doesn't make financial sense. You're spending 4 times the amount.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I think this allows you to be able to scale, right? And
Yeah.
And I think people just need to open up. I have a combination of, like you, we have VAs and we have in-house as well. And I find that helps out a lot. And so does Virtudesk, right? This is why we're here. So does everybody there. It's a great combo. And I think the key is having them work together and knowing that as you work closer together, you're going to be able to leverage each other's skills better. That's what I found, man.
Yeah. And to get everybody in the mindset and the thought process that your virtual assistant, no matter where they are in the world, they're a part of the team and a part of the family.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Also, Pavel, I'm texting with Pavel right now. He says hello.
Hey, what's up, buddy? See you next month.
Let me tell him right now. He's coming down?
Yeah, he's going to come out.
All right.
It's a great time.
Where are you guys having that event?
In Passaic, New Jersey.
Nice. How'd you end up choosing New Jersey?
So I'm doing this with my title partner, New World Title.
Okay.
They're in Florida, and in the beginning of this year, they opened up in New Jersey, and they made a big splash. I mean, people are really happy to have the type of company that they are come into New Jersey. And so he said, Dave, I want to do something title companies don't do. Let's put on a conference. Can you help me? I said, absolutely.
Dude.
And he said, who can we bring that's really going to knock it out the park that agents are going to go crazy over? And I said, let's try for Tom Ferry. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
We reached out to Tom. Tom said, sure. And we're in.
Dude,
so
it makes it so much easier.
Yeah. And I think it's super smart what he was doing. This morning, we had 40 billboards go all up and down New Jersey highways with my face, Tom Ferry's face, and Rudy's face on there. And
dude, I need to take a look at that.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. We're really looking forward to it.
I love it. All right, so with somebody that's thinking of starting to get their first VA or just starting to scale up, what would be the recommendation that you give them?
I think the biggest recommendation goes back to what I said before. If you're going to hire your very first virtual assistant, clear your calendar for the next 2 to 3 weeks. And, I know you got to work, but set aside a very specific amount of time on a daily basis that you spend one-on-one with your virtual assistants, going through everything that it is that you want them to do. How do you figure out what you want them to do? Take a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle, write everything you love about your job and everything you hate about your job. And everything you hate about your job is now your virtual assistant's job description, right? And the things that you hate, the things that bog you down, the things that are just time consuming, computer stuff, right? All that stuff, because we're salespeople. We're real estate agents, we're salespeople. We should be out in front of people, not computers. And so give them the opportunity to learn. Put systems in place. If you don't have systems in place, and when I say systems, I'm not talking about technology systems. I'm talking about checklists for things that happen during your job working with somebody, and have those checklists in place. And if you don't have them in place, work together with your virtual assistant to put them in place. And you just make a rudimentary list and then help them fix it, define it, put it in a Google Sheet, do what it is that they do to make it best for them. How's it going to work best for them? You guys come to a consistency and work together on it. And I think that's the most critical thing you could do. In the future, we'll have this superstar VA that does all that stuff for us, that trains the future of our virtual assistants, right? But right now, if you're looking at that first one, I think that's imperative. It's imperative that you know that.
I love that, dude. Great advice.
Yeah,
And then
man.
last question, Anita says, what's the objective of David's November conference?
So it's a real estate conference. Tom Ferry's coming in and he's going to be focusing on what Tom Ferry does, sales and lead gen and social media and things of that nature. He's taking over the entire morning. In the afternoon, we're going to create certain panels that some people are used to, but we're reformatting the panels. For instance, instead of having a top producers panel, we're having a top producers business format panel, meaning we're bringing top producers in that are doing 150 plus million a year in business. And they're going to tell us about how they started the businesses and how they put them together. And so I always hate it when I didn't sell any real estate and I was sitting in a room listening to top producers talk about how much they sell and what kind of car they drive and blah, 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 blah. And that just gets boring. So we're doing that. We're doing a coach's corner. Myself and 2 other coaches are going to sit and have a conversation with the crowd. So it's going to be almost like a 750 person mastermind for an hour. Then we're pushing a great social media panel that we're bringing on board, and that we're going to be focusing on video production and Google push and YouTube pushes. And then we have one other panel that we're calling team owner versus broker owner. And so we've got 2 very prominent New Jersey broker owners and 2 very prominent New Jersey team owners. And we're going to sit them together and we're going to talk about why someone becomes a team owner versus a broker owner, why somebody becomes a broker owner versus a team owner, what the different passions are, what are the pros and cons of everything.
I love that. All right.
So,
Anita has another question then. It says, what checklist do you recommend when starting to hire your first VA?
I think that really depends on what you do, Anita. Like if you are, if you're a buyer's agent and most of your business is buyers, then think about what the process of working with a buyer is like, right? Everything from the lead comes in to cultivating the lead, to meeting with them in person, to being able to communicate with them, to then taking them to see homes, which means that now you're looking up properties, making appointments, going out to see properties. And then, then you're going to write a contract, right? So
Yeah.
Do you write the contract? Does your assistant write the contract? Do you make the appointments? Or does your assistant make the appointments? Like, there's so many things that they could do for you. So you have to look at the entire process and then write me VA, me VA, me VA for everything that you want to split up. And I think that's where the win's going to be, and take it all the way to closing, right? Even after closing, who puts them in the post-drip campaign? Who puts them? Who reaches out to them and says, "Hey, can you write me a review?" Like all that stuff, right?
Very true, man.
Very administrative stuff that you can really offer out and let them do for you.
Well, that's why I threw this up there as well. And look, if you have any questions, just go to myvirtudesk.com. They can kind of outline exactly what it is that they have virtual assistants do. Let me see if I can throw that in there, Anita, because you had a great question. And I know they provide you with a lot of the task duties as well. So you don't have to actually come up with all of them from scratch. You can start with something that they already have that they can share with people. There's the link. Obviously, that's where David and I get most of our virtual assistants. And if you want to go to David's event, it's out in New Jersey. David, what's the link to that, buddy?
Awesome. I can put it in here too. It's
Yeah.
NU. So
NU.
new U Recon.
All
So
right.
NU YOU Recon. So it's the new U real estate conference.
Nice, buddy. I got you.
There it is.
Oh, I see that. I'm going to copy paste that and put it into the community too. All right, David.
Appreciate that.
Thanks for being on, dude. I love your hat.
Thank you, man.
It looks awesome. Very, very good one.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
And thanks for always giving back to the community. I appreciate that.
Man, I love being on with you guys, and you know, the amount of content and information that you guys give away is incredible. I've learned so much from it, so it's an honor to come up here and participate, my friend.
Thanks, bro. Good luck with the event too.
All right, brother. Take care.
All right,
Thank you.
bye.